So just describe for me this new model.
There are about 6 stages to this new model. The first stage is to really understand what the problems, what are the problems the client wants the agency to help them resolve, to really kind of be clear about what sort of relationship they want to have. Like, do they want an agency who is going to do for me, or do they want an agency who is going to both think for me and do for me? Because that's a very different type of relationship, and arguably the latter is much more of a partnership than the former. So yeah, and you know, that early stage as well kind of helps to get a picture of the sort of culture, those culture issues that are important to get right in any relationship. So that's probably stage 1. Stage 2 then is to meet with a long list of agencies to review credentials. I think the thing that I sort of see a lot going in to talk to agencies about their work is that they tend to kind of concentrate on the ads as the work, whereas clients are much more interested in the strategy that resulted in that work, and then significantly what that work achieved. So I always would be very encouraging of agencies to really think hard about how they present their case studies in a really succinct way that gives the client a view of the quality of their strategic reasoning and their measurement and evaluation, which according to a lot of clients is really the only show in town now. And then the next, so that stage of credentials will whittle a list down to about 3 or 4 candidate agencies, so who on paper have the skills and the expertise and the team and the case studies that would be suitable for this particular client's task. And then you get kind of quite specific with the agencies in terms of what you want them to respond on next. But essentially it's a sort of a series of conversations, much like a sort of a protracted interview, where you meet again with the agency, you ask them to respond on a particular problem that you as a business is experiencing. You ask them to have a think about that and come back and present a point of view. What that does is it shows the client the quality of the agency's brain, how they might approach a particular problem, what level of insight or creativity do they bring to bear on that problem definition or that problem, or the solution to that problem. That stage inevitably will whittle the field down to probably, well, hopefully at least 2 serious candidates. And then I think it's really important to kind of have a sort of a workshop style interaction between the client and the agency. And that's really to kind of see how each other works in reality. And it sets, I suppose, some expectations that each partner would have of the other in terms of the maintenance and the sustenance of a really strong, mutually beneficial relationship. So that's really, really critical to, I suppose, see the whites of the eyes of both candidates. That inevitably will result in a lead candidate being identified. And at that point then, you kind of roll the sleeves up and you get very specific about what's the scope of work, what services are you buying, in what quantity and for what price. And then the final piece of the mix is, it's all very well and good to find the right agency that can really bring all of their talents to bear on the task, but it's what you do with that agency after you get them is where the rubber will meet the road. And so that's where governance plays a huge role in setting the expectations through service level agreements that everybody buys into, through open and honest 360 appraisals between both parties, and depending on what compensation strategy has been agreed, but that there is inbuilt reward for high performance, but that it is not necessarily the agency being rewarded, it's the team that's being rewarded for high performance, that client agency team. And so that's it.